Small little rant here when it comes to movies. So I just had a situation where I saw a certain movie. I ain't gonna tell you yet, and it gave me a nasty feeling. And I was sitting here like, why do I feel this way about this movie? I haven't seen this movie in, man, it's been a while. And I was sitting there like, why do I feel this certain type of way? So I went to check it out again. I'm like, okay, I gotta know. Every time I saw this certain movie, I always be like, and now I know why. It's the movie Forrest Gump. And I'm disgusted now. Now I understand why after seeing it. Yo, I'm being real. Joker is not the worst villain. Darth Vader is not the worst villain. Alonzo from Training Day is not the worst villain. The Sopranos altogether is not the worst. Whoever you think of being the worst villain in movie history, it's probably not true when it compares to this one person from a movie you would never expect to have a villain arc. Forrest Gump overall is a great movie. Heartfelt. Tom Hanks did an amazing job. For the most part, it was a good movie. I cannot watch that movie again though. I cannot, because nobody on the face of the earth disgusted me more than Jenny, bro. Jenny, I don't care. People try to some people, for the most part, people are rolling with what I'm saying here, but the ones who defend, their defense doesn't even work in this matter when it comes to Jenny. I don't know if the writers intentionally wrote her like this, thinking it through about how they made her, but that character has to be one of the most despicable, disgusting people I've ever seen in movie history. And it's not even meant to have a good and bad guy in this movie. That's the funniest part was, those movies I was like, Thanos, so on and so forth. They are meant to be villains. It's good guys versus bad guys. Forrest Gump is not meant to be that. It's not to be that. And yet we got the worst villain, the most despicable villain in the history of movie cinema. You have to watch it for yourself. Yes, I can understand some people when they're defending her saying, the stuff that she went through, she didn't know how to love, yada, yada, yada. I could get your point to a certain degree. I take that back. I don't get your point, because it's one thing to not have to not know how to love and stuff like that. It's another thing when you're taking advantage of someone because they don't know better. And this is not a woman versus man thing, man. This has nothing to do with that. I don't care, man, woman, whatever, family, friend, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, so on and so forth. It doesn't even matter about that. It's about how you treat people. You can have issues in your life. It doesn't justify how you treat someone. And the way Jenny treated Forrest, which basically, to keep it in the simplest terms ever, as a rebound. One of the worst rebound moments I've ever seen in life. Goodness gracious. I'm not going to break down every movie scene, but literally, this is her and Forrest Gump's relationship. She knows Forrest. They basically grew up with each other. She did something to Forrest that made him attached to her. She knew that Forrest loved and cared about her. She knew that. I don't care what people say. She knew that Forrest cared about her. And she did something that made Forrest care about to the highest degree, to where all he could think about is Jenny. Jenny, Jenny, Jenny. And that's her fault. She did something to someone she doesn't even love like that. Because, and here's another thing before I even go further. I'm saying this. I don't care how the movie ended. I don't care what happened in the middle. She never loved Forrest. Even in death, I don't care what she said. She never loved Forrest. You can disagree with me all you want. No way. She might say some things to make him feel better, or now that she feels guilty because she did all this stuff, or spoiler alert, at the end she has a deadly sickness that, so now it's like, okay, now that everything's falling apart for me, I'll be around you, thank you for it. No, at the end of the day, you never loved that man. I know for a fact, if you did not have that sickness, you would not you would not have been there with Forrest. I was so mad, bro. Like, how do you know this person loves you, and you treat him like that? You go to these other areas, want to be for the streets or whatnot. The streets are literally beating her, literally, I'm not even joking, beating her. This one person who cares for you, defends you, says all this stuff. You leave him in the middle of the road to go for these trash cans, these druggies, these beaters, you leave him to go there. And the thing is, if that's what you want to do, that's your life. Do what you want to do. But don't, when things are crashing and burning now, go back to the person because you know he doesn't know better. Because I know for a fact if Forrest knew better, he would never taken her back. Especially with how many times she's done it in the movie. There was no way, bro. But because you know he doesn't know better, because in the movie he is autistic, but he was still smart. But when it came to Jenny, she knew that she was his weakness. And you went back every time. That has nothing to do with you don't know how to love. That's you taking advantage. She was a person who took advantage. And like I said, if you want to live that crazy life, that's on you. Whatever. But when you come back, you know, I'm just this and that, and let me get some love real quick because I'm not getting love out there, but I know he's gonna love me. So let me just get my feels in. You know, we've experienced that with people in our lives where they come and talk to us when life is bad. It don't even have to be someone we love, like relationship. It could be family, friends, a coworker, whatever. They come and talk to you for a little bit just so they can feel better. You can give them their confidence back, and as soon as they get their confidence, they just stop talking to you or just up and leave. But then when stuff happens again, they come right back. That's how she was, in the worst way. Like stuff like, bro, it made no sense. And then that happened a few times in this movie, but nothing was worse than near the end. I'm going to give a spoiler here. She comes back. Forrest is living a great life. Like I said, outside of her, Forrest had a great story. He has some other rough patches, but nothing worse than Jenny. But for the both, like when you see you have to see the movie if you haven't seen it. But she comes again out of nowhere. She's famous for that rebound attitude. Come out of nowhere, and Forrest basically tells her he loves her, but she knew that. She goes in his bed and takes his virginity. Again, he's new to this stuff. You knew he was going to get even more attached doing that because he was attached with the first thing you did to him way back earlier in the movie. She sleeps with him to go and leave him the next morning and never come back 4 years later. So you get his hopes up again, mess with his emotions. Because I'm telling y'all, when y'all watch the movie, y'all will understand why I'm so mad. For someone like Forrest, you get mad for them because they don't know better. You went through all this knowing Forrest cared for you. So you sleep with him just to leave him for 4 years. And guess what happens 4 years later? She shows up again with a 4-year-old or a son. Guess whose son that is? His. Forrest's. So he's already panicked because he's like, okay, wait, is this son does he have my condition? Like he's never, like I said, he hasn't experienced this before. So then you're like, okay, I'll never forget. I was already mad. I was like, why are you here? Okay, you got a son. Oh, okay. So now 4 years later, you want to just throw this on me? You know, whatever. So I'm just fast forward a little bit here. So then she tells Forrest, I have a deadly sickness. Think it was AIDS? Was it AIDS? I have a deadly sickness, and I'm about to die. So you mean to tell me you only came back because you're about to die, and you're like, okay, here's your son. So if you didn't have a sickness, you wouldn't have came back, would you? I'm gonna say no, because why? In 4 years. You come back no. So you're still trash. So even in death, you are still being trash. It was like, bro, it's like, dude, what did Forrest do to you, man? Like, what did he do? But he didn't do nothing. He was just someone that Jenny knew she could get his way. And I don't care how sad they try to make that ending. I was mad. No. And then she dies off, right? She dies off and leaves Forrest crying with his son. And you feel bad. It's like Forrest did not deserve that, bro. How is somebody who basically knew Forrest since childhood was the worst thing that can happen to him? I don't care. She left him a son. Yeah, a son that he didn't know about for 4 years. And unless she died, she probably would have never told him. No, bro. No, no, no. That's a villain arc right there. So I'm about to die. Here you go. Pay for my funeral. Pay for this. Pay for this. Here's your son. You never loved him. And that's you never, and I ain't trying to hear people try to make excuses. There ain't no excuse. I went through things. We all went through things in life. We didn't know how to do everything, but doesn't mean you treat people that kind of, and it's different if she did it once and was like, okay, that was wrong. I'm treating Forrest like this. That's wrong to take advantage as a rebound. She did it four or five times. Like 90% of her scenes is using Forrest as a rebound. You know, it's like, nah, bro. What's that saying? Fool me once, shame on me, like something like that. But bro, it's different. One time you did it. You're known to do this throughout the whole movie. I don't care how bad your life is. Join the club. A lot of our lives we had bad moments in our life. We don't go and treat someone like that repeatedly. You know, you do the first time, my bad, I was wrong, yada yada yada. And if you learn how to love, then that's a personal journey for you. Not for you to take someone else in your mess. And then knowing the condition that Forrest had, knowing how attached he was to you. You could have left that man alone. Bro, it was like, but no. Now I'm about to die, and here's your son, and pay for this stuff. And I'm glad, to be real, I am glad his son went to him. Like, they did do that. But the way Jenny did it was so trash. It was like she could have done it earlier or something, and then later in the movie she finds out that she didn't know. But the way it was written, it was like, it makes you think, oh, so if you didn't have a sickness, you wouldn't have told him? It really made you think. It was like, wait. So that's why I don't think the writers thought that through. Or maybe they did. They wanted Jenny to be trash. I don't know. Maybe they did. Because, that's villain arc top tier material right there. And the die say bye, you know. No. That's all I'm going to say. I've talked long enough. I had to get that out of my system, bro. It makes so much sense why every time I see that picture of Forrest Gump, I get disgusted. Had nothing to do with him and his other journey. It had to do with her. One of the worst people I've ever seen. Not just in period. It's like, bro. It maybe hit a little home to me because I dealt with people, but not like that. I ain't gonna put the people who done me wrong that bad. Yes, I've had people that use me as rebounds before, but nowhere to that extent. So I ain't gonna say that. Oh, that felt good to get that out of my system. She is the worst villain in movie history. And it's crazy. Like I said, I don't even believe she was written to be a villain, but she is. And I sit here to go back and forth. And 90% of people say the same thing. Like, I was researching. I'm like, am I the only one that think this? Most people said the same thing. They were like, bro, you the one of the worst humans on movie history. Jenny is terrible. Terrible. Bro, poor Forrest, bro. You know. That's crazy. All right, I got that out of my system. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what your thoughts are. And again, you can defend Jenny. It ain't going to change my mind. You know, I'll listen, though. Well, I'll take that back. I'm not going to be completely stubborn. Maybe you'll give a different point than the other people defending. Because saying that she don't know how to love ain't enough. That ain't enough. I didn't know how to love at a certain point in my life. You didn't see me going out here just doing this and cheating and doing this and yada yada and using people as rebound. No, I stepped back and look at my life and say, okay, what? Before I go in and put myself in relationship situations, let me get myself together. You know, nah. And if I did something wrong to someone, it was once, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Let me get it together. No. That was ridiculous. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. I'm glad I got that out of my system.